Hi, it's good to see you.
Hi, Michael.
Hope you're enjoying the weather. Do you have any medical information from last week, or is that above your remit, or what's the story there?
No. I think everyone who obviously you'll have seen after the game, there's a couple of players with carrying bumps. The only person that hasn't travelled with us from the squad is Jack Conan, and he stayed behind just to rehab, and we hope to get more information on his injury next week.
Okay, thank you. In terms of the game against Italy, can you give me a kind of mature reflection on your thoughts as to how that actually went as an entire package?
Yeah, I guess it was the first hit out, first chance to try and put into practice some of the things we've been working on so far across the first 5 weeks we've been together. Those things came out. Some of the things came out really well, and were strong parts of our game. Other things there'll be things to work on. So, I guess in terms of evaluating the performance, it was a strong Italian side, and we feel like we've put a good marker down. I guess there's plenty to improve on, Michael, but it was a good start for us, and it is just a start, but we've got the opportunity now over the next couple of weeks to build a performance for England and then Samoa.
Just a final question for me, if you don't mind. It's just, I don't know if you've had a chance to cast your eye over the South African squad yet, but the composition of it: 5 props, 4 scrum halves, 2 hookers, and 2 outside halves. A 19-14 split. Is that kind of all the rage and all the chat in Portugal at the moment?
No, not really. We haven't taken that much time to kind of have a look at that as a group yet. We haven't sat down and discussed it. This period is a tough period for players in particular, for coaches, trying to find the right balance and the right combinations. World Cups will require you to be as flexible as you can be, without negating the need to have real quality and out and out specialists in certain positions. So, the makeup of our squad will be slightly different potentially, but every squad is probably. And every group is trying to find the best combinations that they can do to create the best squad, and England and South Africa have named theirs today, New Zealand yesterday. Over the next couple of weeks we'll find out what other teams are doing, but we're trying to focus on what we can do and get as many players as we can to the end of August, and then a shout for that 33-man selection.
Obrigado.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Joe, if you want to fire ahead.
Thanks, Peter. Hi, Simon. How are things?
Good, Joe.
Would you mind doing me a massive favour? Could you pull forward the screen a small bit? I'm only getting from your chin up there. Yeah,
better?
much better. Thanks, Manny. After the game, Andy Farrell described the performance as a little bit clunky. How beneficial are these games in getting that cohesiveness between the players, particularly in defence, up to par for the start of the World Cup? How instrumental are these games in kind of getting them back into the flow that they need to be in?
I think across the board, really, Joe. It's not just defence. It's how the scrum connects back up, how the line-out attack and defence works, how our attacking game works, and different combinations that come in and that we're trying over the training period and obviously through these games. So, it's really important that we feel like we're getting better every day in terms of what we're doing. Players are understanding. I guess taking a big chunk of confidence from what we did in the Six Nations, but knowing we have to get better as well, because every side is getting better, and we need to make sure that we do that across the board. So these games are really important for players to get confidence, to grow, to get better, and for us to have a really solid platform going into the Romania game.
When you're bringing players in to see whether they're at the level to be able to go to the World Cup, and you're giving some players a chance to prove their worth, and put their hand up for selection, but you're also trying to get that balance of tapering up to the performance that you'll need to be at to get out of the group stage in the World Cup. How do you balance that between giving guys a shot and also getting up to full speed?
I think Faz has always been pretty open and honest around some sides you could have picked a lot more players, but we feel like the guys that we picked who genuinely have opportunity to go to the World Cup. We wouldn't have picked the players that we picked if we didn't feel that way. Some have more experience and have had more time in the jersey than others, but this period does allow players to stake a claim, not just in the games when they get opportunities, but also in training, and what they're doing around their conditioning, around their strength work, their power work, their nutrition. There's a whole host of things that you probably don't always get the feel for during a Six Nations period, during a November international period, because you're not with the players through a period of growth, and I think that's what this does. It allows us as coaches to find out more about the individuals, to connect with them more, and also then hopefully we get most of those decisions right when it comes to selection.
And then just finally for me, who impressed you that weekend? Who do you feel really took their opportunity when they got it?
I guess there was a few guys that really stood up. The obvious one was in the back row, Caelan Doris, who has been, he's been standout for a while, hasn't he? In terms of his ability, both sides of the ball. He's a fantastic athlete. He has the ability to play across the back row, which is a tough thing to do. And he stood out, I guess, in terms of leading from the front. His ability to lead. I guess a young man, but has huge amount of leadership qualities that other players will want to follow. I guess there's other individuals that went well. There's other individuals that feel they'd like another crack, and over the next few weeks, I think that will hopefully pan out for players, not just in the games to come, but also in the training sessions that we have here in Portugal and going into the England game.
And sorry, just one clarification. Will Jack Conan be available for selection for the England game? We'll
find out next week, Joe. So we're still waiting on assessment, and we decided that it would be probably best for him to stay back in Dublin and rehab, and then we'll get a better indication on how he is when we arrive back into camp next week.
Thanks. Last couple of questions for digital BBC, please, if you want to shoot in, and then Neil.
Hello Simon, it's Richard Petrie here from BBC Sport in Northern Ireland.
Hi Richard.
First of all, I was just wondering, there are reports that you'll be playing in some sort of unofficial training match this week, and that Johnny Sexton might be involved for some match practice. Can you just add or provide any clarity on that, please?
Yeah, so I guess it wouldn't be the first time it happened, and won't be the last time it happens. I guess often teams collaborate with other teams and get the opportunity to do some set piece against each other, to run some backline against backline. It certainly isn't a full-blown game. It's a conditioned training session, which has been a collaboration between the Portuguese coaches and ourselves around trying to create a training session which is slightly different from the norm. When you know each other so well and you get the opportunity to train against each other for 4 or 5 weeks, you often cancel each other out in terms of what you try and do in attack and defence. So I guess it's one of those opportunities that we had to connect up with the Portuguese, to train against them, and to challenge ourselves in a way that you wouldn't normally do in a normal training week.
Will Johnny Sexton play a part in that, Simon? Or?
Yeah, he'll be playing a part in the training session for sure. Yeah. As will every other player that's here. Actually, that every other player is available to train that's travelled.
Okay, thanks. Just one other question from me. Obviously, Tom Stewart has had a great season. Made his debut at international level. on Saturday. What were your thoughts on his half-hour appearance and what he may offer Ireland in the future as well as the present?
Yeah, certainly the present. I mean, he's got a huge amount to offer. He's a real athlete. You know, I first came across Tom when we went to Bloemfontein with the emerging Ireland team. You know, and he was excellent to work with. Great kid who works really hard. He's diligent, but he adds a huge amount in his game in terms of the ability, and you know, his try scoring figures are pretty high, as are Rob Herring's and our other two hookers. I have to say, you know, they benefit from a lot of good work that goes on in front of them. But all four of our hookers have the ability to score tries off the back of good more work in the provinces and with the Irish team. So yeah, Tom's done really well. You know, he presents another a great prospect and somebody that is you know, really putting his hand up for selection across the last 4 or 5 weeks, and you know, if he gets an opportunity over the next couple of weeks, I'm sure he'll do the same. But you know, I was really pleased for him, for Nashi, and for Kieran Frawley, who all made their debuts. You know, they really stood up, and the lads were really keen to make sure they got off to a good start in the green jersey, and they all added loads to the week and also the performance on the weekend.